Hey everybody, Captain Algebra here. Welcome to my May of 2018 pickups. Got a lot of good stuff this month, probably bought more than I should. I even got a new console to add to my collection. See what that is after the break. Alright guys, here we go. So we're going to save the console for last. First thing is just a couple non-actual games, but gaming related. So obviously huge God of War fan. So I did pick up at Best Buy the Kratos and Atreus Popo Funk 2-pack. As soon as I saw that, I had to have that. Also got the God of War Kratos action figure from Target. I saw the Game Grinder had picked that up and he posted on his Facebook. So as soon as I saw that, I went to Target that night to grab one. And then we also did pick up the God of War Collector's Edition guide. I did finish God of War. I didn't use the guide, but I'm going to use it to get all the rest of the Ravens and all that kind of stuff to complete it 100%. Then we got a couple guides. These all came from Game Corner, so thank you, Justin. We got Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, Medieval, Toy Commander, and Tomb Raider. And then along with those guidebooks, I also did get a Final Fight manual. So again, all those except for Banjo-Kazooie, I got for $5 from Justin. So thank you. One other thing I got this month, so I just heard about this recently, was Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. So it's a really fun 2D side scroller in the vein of like Castlevania. So it's really cool. You go around after each level, you get a new character they can change to, and you get that character until you die. And then you can use the rest of the characters. If you die with all of them, then you have to start the level over and you got everyone again. But they each have different skills, and each level has different paths that you can take depending on which characters you use. So one girl can slide and she's got a whip, another guy just got a sword, other guy's the alchemist, kind of uses magic, so that's really cool. But definitely glad I picked up. It was only $10, so I suggest it if you're into that kind of stuff. So also earlier in the month, I got a couple Super Nintendo games. First one, Hyperzone. So Hyperzone was an early release in the Super Nintendo era, and it was basically there to show off what the Super Nintendo could do. It reminds me a lot of F-Zero, that kind of racing, but it's all straight ahead. You go around shooting enemies, trying to make sure you don't lose health. There's health recharges, just like in F-Zero, and then at the end there's a boss. And it just goes through some levels. It gets kind of difficult pretty quickly. The first level's a breeze, but then I started having trouble already in the second level. Maybe I'm just bad at the game, but pretty fun game. And also picked up C2, Judgment Clay. So Clay Fighters 2, very similar to the first game. There are a couple new characters, but you know, it's claymation, you go around fighting. It's very cool, especially the blob, how many different things it can look like. So all the work they had to put in to make the claymation is really cool. So it's a decent fighting game. I'm terrible at it, like I am at most fighting games, but it's cool to add in my collection. Next, if you follow me on Facebook, you saw I already got this. I completed my LJN collection with King of the Ring. So I got this from Video Games Monthly, so thank you. So I will be doing a LJN video at some point this summer. Just have to find the time to do it. School's out next week, so I should have a lot more time other than obviously spending time with my wife and daughter. Then next, we got a couple things for my brother. So I was up north visiting my family at my cousin's graduation party, and my brother had some stuff for me. First thing, we've got a green Game Boy Color. So I didn't have a Game Boy Color, so glad to add that. We got some Game Boy games. First one, Toy Story. So this is it is just like the Genesis and Super Nintendo games, but it's very slow and much worse than those games. I love the Genesis version. I played that as a kid all the time, but was not a huge fan of this. It's okay, but definitely go with the other games. Raging Fighter. So Raging Fighter is a fighting game. I am terrible at it, as you can see from the footage. I don't think I won one match. Eventually I got close, but I couldn't pull it off. Then I couldn't figure out how to do any of the moves either, so it's okay. Casper. So Casper is actually a pretty tough game. You go into the mansion, you can go into these different doors, and they're each different mini games. Wasn't really sure what to do in some of them, and I don't think I won any of them. So, oh well. Definitely want to give it a little more shot. Batman Forever. So I think this Batman Forever is better than the Super Nintendo and Genesis versions. I hate that game, but this one seems like a competent beat 'em up. I mean, it's not the greatest game, but it just seems better than the other one. It doesn't even seem as confusing with the controls, so it's okay. Alien 3. So I have it on Sega Genesis and on the Nintendo. I don't think I have the Super Nintendo version, but it's a solid game. This one's definitely a little bit different. You have to go around, get some key cards, get some weapons, and then for each stage you have to defeat all the facehuggers and the aliens. I never did find one because my game kept freezing. I just have to clean it a little more. It might actually be my Super Game Boy. I haven't cleaned that in quite a few years. Pokemon trading card game. The Pokemon trading card game is just like the trading card game that you played in when the cards came out back in the 90s. I never played them, so I really didn't know what to do, but they walk you through the first one, and then you can start having battles. It's pretty fun. We got a little frustrating. I tried to do one battle after the tutorial, and I didn't do very well, but oh well. Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. So it's just like Pokemon Puzzle League on the Nintendo 64, but on the Game Boy Color. It's a fun little puzzle game. It looks like you can just shift blocks left and right. You can't actually like move them up and down, so that kind of gets frustrating, but I'll get better at it. Gex 3 Deep Pocket Gecko. It's a fun little platformer. I really like the Gex games. This one's fun too. You go around in different levels, and you select what mission you want to do, then you go do it, and you can collect certain things as you go through it. It's a pretty fun game. Controls very well. Wario Blast. So that is basically a Bomberman clone. In fact, this actually has Bomberman, and when you play the game, you can choose between Wario and Bomberman. I don't know if they have any different attributes at all. I think they play the same way. But it's a solid Bomberman game. You know, if you like Bomberman, definitely check it out. Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park was a game that my uncle had on the Game Boy, and whenever I visited, I always played it. I loved it. I never knew what to do. In fact, I never got out of the first area. I knew you had to destroy the eggs or collect them, but I never found a way to open the main gate. So finally, when I was recapturing footage, I finally got through to it, and so that was pretty cool. So hopefully I'll get a little further as I play it more. And then last, the best one of the lot. I was actually on my wish list for the Midwest Gaming Classic, and I'm glad I didn't pick it up. Mega Man 3. So this was, I believe, the last original Game Boy game that I had as a kid that I was missing from my collection. And so I really wanted the Midwest Gaming Classic. I saw one copy, it was in terrible shape, and they wanted $25 for it. So, got this from my brother, it's in really good shape, plays well. I absolutely love this game. Now the Game Boy Mega Mans are much tougher than the NES games. So what's really cool is it looks really good. The sprites are really big, but to do that, they made the rest of the screen look small. And so it's really tough seeing what's coming, but that also means there's less enemies to deal with, but it still seems harder. But it's still a solid game, and very glad to add to my collection. Then he also got me some PlayStation games. First one, we got a couple demo discs. We just got a regular PlayStation demo disc. Looks like it has Gran Turismo 2, Jammer Lammy, and Tiny Tank. And then we've got Ape Escape. And then for the actual PlayStation games, first one, Rayman Rush. So this is a racing game that has a bunch of obstacles. It changes the viewpoint. You climb up stuff. So that's kind of cool, but it doesn't play very well. You can even pick up power-ups and shoot your enemies. I had a really tough time. I actually won the first race I did, but I was behind most of the race. It seems okay. I feel like they were going for like Mario Kart type game, but without the carts. It's okay. Maybe if I played a little more, I'll like it more. Crash Bash. So Crash Bash was the only Crash Bandicoot game left for the PlayStation 1 that I didn't have, and I really wanted to. So you go play some mini games, and you can still get crystals and relics and that kind of stuff that you got in the original games. So that's kind of cool, but none of the mini games seemed that fun to me. Maybe it'll be better if I played with my friends instead of just on the computer, but I was kind of disappointed in it. Tiny Toon Adventures, The Great Beanstalk. This was a terrible game. I loved the Tiny Toon games on Sega Genesis and Nintendo and Super Nintendo. They were so much fun, and they could have made this game just as good. Except it's kind of like a point-and-click adventure at times. So you go around with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, and you're trying to find things, and eventually you get to a room where you have to point and click to find what you're looking for. So very boring, not really fun at all, so I definitely don't suggest that game. Tetris Plus. So this is a solid Tetris game. It's got normal classic Tetris, which is great, but it also has the puzzle mode, which you go around, you try to find treasure in like pyramids and stuff, and so each one's a different challenge. They'll have a certain amount of blocks, and you have to get the explorer all the way to the bottom before the ceiling comes down and crushes him. So that's pretty fun. I lost on the second level, so I gotta work on that. I did pick up a couple PS4 games. First one, Batman Return to Arkham. So I love the Arkham games. Arkham Asylum is still my favorite. I know a lot of people like Arkham City, but I was a little turned off by the open world at first. And I really like the more closed-in of Arkham Asylum. It's just smaller. I've also played Arkham Origins, and I do have Arkham Knight, but I haven't played that one yet. So this one, I wanted to see the upgraded graphics and actually play through it again. They're great games. If you haven't played them, definitely try it. And I kind of like how each game is on a separate disc, and it even comes with a manual. Doesn't have much to it, but, it's nice to see that in games these days. And then I also picked up Dying Light, the following. So I haven't had a chance to play this yet, but it's right on front, says a zombie slayer's dream come true, so it's got to be pretty decent. So I look forward to getting into that. I do like zombie games. And here we go. The best part of this month, my new console, a Nintendo Switch. So did not plan on buying this because basically I wanted to play Super Mario Odyssey and that was it. Because I already have Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, so I don't need it on the Switch until it comes down in price. And so didn't plan on getting it, but one day after school, I ran to Toys R Us just to see if they dropped prices at all, because the last time I'd been there, all consoles were still only 5% off, so that's really not worth it. Games were, I think, 10% off. So I go in there, first thing I see is games were 30% off, so, oh, cool. And then I see a sign, Switch consoles, 30% off. And they had one left. I was still like, that's $90 off, but I've got a daughter now. I spent a lot of money last month at the Midwest Gaming Classic. I probably shouldn't. And I was like, maybe I'll call my wife. And then two other people came in and they were both talking about the Switch and pointing it out. And I was like, oh crap. If I'm going to get this, I got to get this. And I mean, $90 off is pretty sweet. So I immediately went and found someone, grabbed them, they called someone over. And as I was walking there, I heard the woman talking to her husband, hey, do you want me to call somebody? And at that moment, the guy came. I said, hey, I want the Switch console. And the guy who was looking at it looked pretty disappointed. So I'm pretty sure I just grabbed it. So that was pretty cool. They only had, I think, WWE 2K18, which is terrible, and Troll. I think it was Troll, which I don't know a thing about, so I really didn't want it. So didn't get any games there, so I went to Best Buy, and I picked up Super Mario Odyssey. So this is a really fun game. I'm really enjoying it so far. I do think it's a little overrated. I think a lot of people are prisoners of the moment lately. When Breath of the Wild came out, it was like, oh, it's the best Zelda ever. It's 10 out of 10. This Mario Odyssey came out, oh, it's the best 3D Mario ever. 10 out of 10. Yes, they're good, but I still prefer like Super Mario Galaxy. I love those games. I love Super Mario 3D World. This is fun. I love the cap concept, being able to take control of different enemies. I love the different outfits you can go get. And I love all the different moons you can collect. And it seems a lot more interesting than getting 900 Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild, which I did, and I regret it. I will never do that again. So definitely enjoying this game. Just don't think it's as great as everyone says it is. Then, of course, I had to get some other games. First one, Tiny Barbarian DX. So you go around in a 2D side-scrolling adventure as the Barbarian. You start off, you're chained up, vultures are going after you, but you kill a vulture, you get some meat, and you get to break free, and then you go fighting. I really enjoy the music in this game. It repeats itself, but I don't know, it's good music, so it doesn't bother me. And it's a pretty short game, I've heard. I haven't gotten all the way through it. The only thing I'm disappointed in is this. There is a launch edition that comes with like a manual and stuff, but I didn't realize that Best Buy wasn't selling that anymore. Just got the game in it, nothing special. So that's unfortunate, but oh well, still a fun game. Then we picked up Wonder Boy Dragon's Trap, and this one does come with the extra stuff. So it's got a manual, it's got a keychain of the dragon, and then it also has original soundtrack sampler. So that's pretty cool. I'm really like Wonder Boy, and what's really cool is you can even switch to the original graphics and music and sound effects from the original game on the Master System. And the cart is actually looks like a Sega Master System with the red tiling. So that's pretty cool. But you go around, you start off as Wonder Boy, and you get turned into a dragon, and then you go through that, you fight another boss, and you get turned into a mouse, and then so you keep getting turned into different animals. It's pretty fun, but I don't know if it's my Switch, or if it's just this game, but sometimes the jump doesn't register right away, it's a little slow. It doesn't seem to bother me in any of the other games, so I'm just thinking it's this game. But it's pretty fun. It's non-linear, which I'm not always great with, but it still seems pretty fun, so definitely check it out if you haven't. And then last, and you're probably noticing a trend with these last 3 games, I get It'll Do 2. All 3 of those games are from Nicholas. I believe that's how it's pronounced. If it's not, please correct me. And then same thing, just like Wonder Boy, this was the launch edition, so it does come up with the manual and then a little like map. So that's kind of cool. I like how they send those. So this is an adventure game. You go around going into caves, solving puzzles. So you're trying to fix your raft that broke as you crashed on this island. And you find little scrolls that open up find other caves that you can explore. So it feels very Zelda-esque to me. And it's a lot of fun. I never played the first It'll Do, that I believe was a download for the Wii U. But this one's a lot of fun. So there you go, I'm really enjoying the Switch so far. Only 4 games, but they're keeping me busy, and especially with finding all the moons on Super Mario Odyssey. Then a couple other things. First thing, I want to thank Discart. So I've been watching his channel. I finally got a chance to watch him. He makes awesome videos if you haven't checked him out. But he makes a lot of display ideas. And while most of them don't really work for me because I'm very particular like how I like to display games, but one thing I didn't know how to display were my Game Boy games. So I watched all his Game Boy ones, and I found this really cool idea where it actually is a nail polish holder. So I found it on Amazon, picked it up, and you can see it holds all these games. It holds more, and I think it holds 1 more Game Boy game if you don't have the cases on them, but you can put Game Boy Advance games there. It looks really cool, and it's a way to actually display my games. So I don't have enough for all my Game Boy games right now, but it at least gets me started in showing off all the games I really enjoy or are important to me. And then also from Discart, he's working on some Switch displays, and I saw he came up with these. So they are little Switch cases for the games, but they're shaped like NES carts. So I picked up the 3, because when I bought these, I only had the 3 games of Super Mario Odyssey, Wonder Boy, and Tiny Barbarian DX. And you open it up, the Switch cart fits in there very nicely, and mine even came, I don't know if Discarts did or not, but it even came with an extra label in case the label gets damaged. So I thought that was really cool. Probably won't really use them. Maybe I'll use them if I bring my Switch somewhere, but right now I'm playing it at home. I don't really like the idea of carrying around that $300 console and having it break or stolen or something like that. So right now it's just at home, but it's cool that it's portable. I just don't know how much I'm going to use it. So there you go. There's everything I bought this month. Sorry it was so long-winded. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what Switch games I need to get. Until next time, this is Captain Algebra, signing off.